Hey friends, welcome back. Today is part 4 in my series on making a career out of a hobby. Today is all about funding that new career. Stick around. Hi friends, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Jen, single mom, artist, and entrepreneur, and this channel is all about helping other single parents build a life that they love and do it all on their own. So I've been doing this series on how to create a career out of a hobby. And today we're going to talk about funding that change. Obviously, last time we talked about expenses. Expenses can be a lot. So getting started can be expensive between licensing costs and product costs if you are selling a product, supplies for any service you might be selling, websites, you name it. We've talked about all the different kinds of expenses you could have. So you already know it could be significant. There's a couple of ways to go about finding the funding to get that going. The first and probably the simplest is to pick up a side hustle that you can put all of that money aside for your new business that you're going to be starting. And it could be anything. You could babysit neighbors' kids, you could DoorDash, you could anything you can think of. Anything you can think of. There's so many gig options out there, so many side hustle opportunities in the world these days. You could literally pick any of them and use it and just take all of the income from that particular side hustle and put it straight into a savings account for your startup costs. That's option number one, probably the simplest, definitely not the quickest, right? The next option is that you could try to find some grants. I'm going to tell you, people talk about finding grants, especially for single moms starting businesses, all the time. And they do exist. But I will say the caveat to that is those grants are usually extremely specific on who qualifies for them and under what circumstances they qualify. So if you're starting a tech business, you can absolutely probably find a grant for a woman-owned tech business if that's what you're starting. That's probably there. But if your business is that you crochet hats and you want to sell those hats at events, you're not going to find any grant money for that, most likely. Most of the grants that are out there are for startups that are looking to have major impact on society, not just to sell a product. So they do exist, but they are very difficult to find, and you're going to have to do a lot of digging to find them. On that same token, if you need additional education in order to get your startup off the ground, there is grant money available, especially for single moms for educational purposes. However, there are very specific instances in which that grant money is available as well. Most of the time, if you have an existing bachelor's degree, if you finished some sort of college or secondary education, you probably don't qualify for that grant money. In my case, I went back to school to become a licensed massage therapist 2 years ago now. I couldn't get any grant money in order to help pay for that schooling because I already have a bachelor's degree in photography and visual communication. Because I have an existing bachelor's degree, I don't qualify for grant money for educational purposes. So, is it out there? Absolutely. Do you have to meet very, very specific subsets of people in order to get it? Yes. Yes, you do. So, if you think there's a chance you qualify for some of that, absolutely do some searching. Google is a great place to start. I will tell you this, anybody that wants money in order to apply for something, it's probably a scam. So don't go there. Do your research before you apply for these. Make sure that they are legitimate. The third option is you could take out a loan. Now, since your business hasn't been started yet, you could take out a private loan through your bank that you bank with. Is that the best option? Probably not. I don't tend to recommend people take out personal loans because they're usually unsecured, and unsecured loans are going to have the highest interest rate out there. It's not a recommendation that I would typically make, but it is an option. If you're really wanting to go that path, it is an option. And you could definitely look into it. However, option 4, if you're looking at a loan, option 4 is the best option, which is to look at the Small Business Administration. Small Business Administration absolutely gives loans to businesses. Now, it is a very lengthy process. You need to work with a bank that is schooled in working with SBA, that knows the process and that can help walk you through it. You will absolutely need to write a business plan, a very, very thorough one. So that's a whole other learning curve of things to figure out. SBA loans, though, do have very low interest rates. So for the purpose of starting a business, they are the best bet if borrowing money is your best choice. However, one thing to keep in mind, SBA loans are very much like student loans for college. They cannot be bankrupted. So if you are taking out a Small Business Administration loan, you will pay it back one way or another. So that's just something to keep in mind if you are looking for external funding. The last option, but is, in my opinion, a pretty rare option, there are angel investors out there who will invest money in businesses or in startups for a percentage of ownership in that business. Again, angel investors are also looking for very specific subsets of kinds of businesses. So if you're opening a craft business, you're probably not going to find an angel investor for that. Even a service-based business where you are the service and the brand is you're probably not going to have a lot of luck finding an angel investor for, largely because it's hard to sell you. You know, that's not the kind of business that you can build into some sort of mega capital and then turn around and sell that business, because you are the worth if it's a service-based business that is based on service that you provide. So the worth of the business is you. So the ability to turn around and then later sell that business is limited, and therefore angel investors are going to be much less interested in that kind of proposition. But again, they do exist, and it might be worth looking into. The best way to find angel investors or things of that nature is by going out into the world and networking and meeting people in your town, in your area, in your world. So that's it for today. Those are my 5 potential sources for creating that career out of your hobby. I hope that was somewhat helpful. I will put a link below to the Small Business Administration's website. It's sba.gov. It's super easy to find, but it does have a lot of really great information about business structure and things of that nature on it, and how loans work, how SBA loans work, and a lot of other just really, really great information for entrepreneurs or people who are considering starting some sort of business for themselves. So I definitely think that you should check that out, do some research, do some reading. You'll find that it is pretty helpful, I think. Thanks for joining today. As always, make sure to like and subscribe and drop your comments below. See you next time.